My husband's sponsored poor female student sent me a provocative text message. In the photo, she was wearing my nightgown and lying on my bed. Sister, you're already old. Your skin is sagging. And when you smile, there are wrinkles on your face. It's disgusting. But I'm different. I'm only 19, still a virgin, and no man can resist me. He just held me and nearly wore me out. Each word was unbearable to read. 19 years old? So what? I didn't tolerate her arrogance. I blurred out her face in the photo and posted it directly in her college class group. It didn't take long for Eric to call me. How old are you? Jane? Is it necessary to argue with a barely adult girl? Do you know how much trouble you could cause her with that? Damn, Jane. This is disgusting. I didn't say a word. I hung up the phone and blocked him on every contact. I don't care. I don't want anything dirty. Chapter 1. I packed all of Eric's belongings overnight and threw them out into the hallway. I hired the most professional cleaning company to thoroughly clean every corner of the house. I also deleted his fingerprint from the door lock and changed the password. But no matter how carefully I planned, I didn't expect Eric to guess the password. He barged in, waking me up from my sleep. Jane, what's the meaning of this? Throwing all my stuff out? What? You want a divorce? To live separately? After a sleepless night, I was barely dozing off when I was awakened, my mind a foggy mess. Faced with Eric's questioning, I grabbed the pillow beside me and threw it at him. Yes, live separately. Now get out. Eric hesitated, then bent down to pick up the pillow from the floor, dusted it off, and placed it back on my bed. Smelling the alcohol on me, he frowned. Why did you drink? You know you get headaches when you drink. Just lie down and rest. I'll make you something to eat. He turned to leave. I called after him. I told you to get out. Eric, are you deaf? He paused for a moment but still gently closed the door. It's always like this. I hold in my anger for a long time, wanting an explanation, but every time, it's like punching a pillow, always avoiding the issue, waiting for time to gradually heal me, and he ignores my pain, only stepping in after my hysterical outbursts to play the caring role, pointing out my faults, forcing me to accept and apologize. In other words, no matter if I'm right or wrong, I'm always the one who has to back down first. Because I loved him, I was willing to go crazy, willing to exhaust myself, willing to always treasure him, maintaining his pride. But that was when I still loved him. From the kitchen, I heard the sound of chopping vegetables. And soon, the aroma of food filled the air. Eric knocked on my door. Baby, it's time to eat. When I got ready to leave, he had already served the meal, 3 dishes and a soup, all my favorites. A few days ago, he had cursed me out over the phone for Louisa, but now, it seemed like he had completely forgotten about it. He's like that, always thinking that by ignoring the problem, it will go away, but he doesn't realize that these things are piling up inside me, just waiting for the right moment to explode. After dinner, Eric pulled out a lipstick from who knows where. A colleague said this brand of lipstick is really nice, so I bought one for you. See if you like it. I opened the cap, and inside was a very outdated, dark red lipstick. The top of the lipstick even had signs of wear. I closed it expressionlessly and casually threw it into the trash. Chapter 2. Eric was furious. Jane, what do you mean by this? Even if you don't like what I gave you, you shouldn't have thrown it away. I laughed. I unlocked my phone and showed Eric the message I had just received. It was from Louisa. Sister, do you like the lipstick? I personally picked it out just for you. It's perfect for an old woman like you. Of course. It's just one of the lipsticks Koo bought for me in a set. The darkest red. It's absolutely perfect for you. The anger on Eric's face froze. I sneered. What do you think I mean, Eric? Giving me something someone else didn't want, and you actually did it? She's just a barely adult kid. She doesn't understand social etiquette yet. It's normal for her to say whatever comes to mind. Do you really need to argue with someone younger? Eric's retort made me laugh out of sheer anger. Someone younger? Eric, have you no shame? If I'm the elder, what does that make you? Huh? This barely adult kid wore my lingerie, laid in my bed, and slept with my man. Do you think I shouldn't care? Eric, now enraged, shot up from his seat and paced the living room several times before finally pointing a finger at me. You really want to bring this up, don't you? It was just a mistake. I drank too much at a social event, and she was just trying on some clothes she hadn't seen before. What's the big deal? We didn't even do anything. So why are you blowing this out of proportion? I stared intently at Eric, his eyes full of anger and irritation, like a splash of cold water, completely extinguishing my own fury. You can never wake someone who's pretending to sleep. I shouldn't keep exhausting myself. Whoever wants that trash can have it. But don't shamelessly push it onto me. It's disgusting. Eric caught the hidden meaning behind my words and grabbed my wrist tightly. What do you mean by that, Jane? What do you mean? I sneered. What do I mean? I mean you should get lost. Go to your precious 19-year-old girl, and stay away from me, got it? Chapter 3. As soon as I finished speaking, a heavy slap landed on my face. In 5 years of marriage, Eric had never laid a hand on me. This was the first time. He looked down at me, his face full of disgust. Jane, I've already given you face by coming back to you. And this is how you repay me? Insisting on acting like a fool? Don't you know how old you are? Competing with a young girl who knows nothing. Aren't you ashamed? 10 years. Jane, you're a full 10 years older than Louisa. Was she wrong? You're almost 30. You're old. Instead of wasting time being jealous, you should think about how to improve yourself. I widened my eyes, barely able to believe what I was hearing. Indeed, what a person says in the heat of anger is often the truth. Anyone could call me old, call me ugly, but not Eric. I stood up and slapped him back. Eric, do you have any conscience? Was I never young? Louisa is 19, enjoying all the luxurious things you've given her. But what about my 19? My youth was spent struggling with you to build this life. Eric covered his face and frowned. Have I mistreated you these past years? Haven't I provided you with everything you wanted? Can't you just be content? All right. I hit you. You hit me back. We're even now. I don't want to fight over outsiders and ruin our relationship. I closed my eyes, not wanting to hear another word from him, as I felt a sharp pain in my lower abdomen, a bad premonition rising within me. Eric didn't notice anything wrong with me because his phone suddenly rang. Coo, dear, I went to school today, and some classmates bullied me. They called me a homewrecker. Boo-hoo-hoo. Eric shot me a reproachful glare. Don't worry. I'll come find you right now. After hanging up, he looked at me coldly. Because of your impulsiveness, Louisa is being ostracized by her classmates. She's just a kid, and if something happens to her, you'll be to blame. Eric! I clutched my lower abdomen tightly, my face pale as I looked at him. I'm pregnant, and my stomach hurts a lot. Can you take me to the hospital? Eric stopped in his tracks. From across the couch, he turned back to look at me, scoffing coldly. What now? Trying a new tactic to keep me around? 5 years, and you've shown no signs of pregnancy, but suddenly now you're pregnant? Who's going to believe that? I no longer wanted to argue with him. Instead, I looked down at my skirt, now stained red with blood, and trembled as I begged. I'm not lying, Eric. I'm bleeding. But the only response I got was the sound of the door slamming shut behind him. Chapter 4. The baby is gone. I listened quietly as the doctor gave me the news. Even though I had been preparing myself for this, I couldn't help but shed tears. The day I found out about this baby was the same day Eric and Louisa ended up in bed together. The little life we'd been waiting for 5 years finally came at the worst possible time. It didn't even get a chance to see the world before quietly leaving. The doctor left. The room was empty, just me alone. Only then did I realize that after 5 years in the city, I didn't even have a single close friend to confide in. My entire life revolved around Eric. I crawled into the bed, curling up into a ball, biting my fingers as I cried uncontrollably. I didn't receive a single phone call from Eric the entire day, not even a message. He probably still didn't realize I had blocked him. There was no bathroom in the hospital room, so I had to hold the fort and make my way to the nearest public restroom. But when I tried to get up, I couldn't pull up the zipper on my skirt. Helpless, I had to ask the cleaning lady for help. As she helped me with the zipper, she gently reminded me, next time you need to go to the restroom, ask a nurse. In your condition, you don't want the blood to flow back. The long-lost feeling of concern brought a lump to my throat, and tears nearly fell. Then I saw Louisa. She had a bandage on her forehead and a mocking gaze fixed on me, her look full of undisguised scorn. Eric had taken good care of her, with her delicate makeup, long wavy hair, and a light purple skirt. She looked like a doll. There was no trace left of the dirty, timid little girl she used to be. What a coincidence. Huh? Chapter 5. She smiled sweetly, brushing her long hair aside to reveal the love bites on her neck. Sister, are you sick? Why did you come to the hospital alone? Even if Ku doesn't want to accompany you, you should have asked a friend to come with you, right? Oh, I just remembered. She seemed to think of something, laughing happily. Ku said that a bad-tempered old woman like you has no friends at all. How pathetic. You can't even pull up your own zipper when you go to the bathroom. There was a superior air in the way she looked at me, the kind of smugness that comes from taking something precious away from someone else. I felt nothing but disgust. For a man who will never truly be yours, you've ruined your reputation. That label of homewrecker will stick with you for life. Is it really worth it? She took a step closer, her smile widening as she leaned in to whisper in my ear. The label of homewrecker is nothing compared to the wealth and status I'll gain as Mrs. Chu. From the first moment I saw you, I knew you didn't deserve this man, let alone everything that comes with him. The one who deserves to take your place should be me. Honestly, you're nearly 30. You're old. Ku told me himself that he doesn't feel any desire when he's with you. Anger and humiliation churned within me, making it nearly impossible to keep my rage in check. I wanted nothing more than to tear her smug face apart. Taking a deep breath, I held back. Getting into a physical fight with this disgusting woman over a man who wasn't worth it would only lower my own worth. Is that so? I hope that when you get older, he doesn't find someone younger to replace you. With that, I walked past her, but Louisa moved faster, and I heard her clearly as she ran toward the bathroom, throwing herself into Eric's arms. Ku, I know I was wrong. I shouldn't have let my feelings get the better of me. But please ask Jane to forgive me. She said that if I don't leave you, she'll ruin my reputation at school. I know it's my fault, but Ku, I only did it because I like you so much. If you're willing, I'll bear all the shame. I watched dispassionately as Louisa put on her little act. Her performance was terrible, not even close to hiding the pretentious coquette vibe she exuded. Yet Eric was moved to tears by it. He protected Louisa behind him, not even sparing a thought for why I was in the hospital, or for the 4 I had been holding up for so long. Chapter 6. He blamed me. Jane, what do you want? You're not a young girl anymore. You can't afford to be so capricious. If you have a problem, take it out on me, but leave Louisa out of it. Now, apologize to Louisa immediately. He grabbed me, trying to force me to bow. I struggled in the most humiliating position. I was so tired, and everything hurt. I told Eric to let go, that I was in real pain, that my whole body hurt. I was still hooked up to the 4, but he acted like he couldn't hear me, even kicking the back of my knee. I endured the excruciating pain and refused to kneel. A crowd had gathered around, all watching this farce. I no longer had the strength to hold up the 4, and bright red blood started to flow back through the tube. I was exhausted. I didn't want to fight anymore, since Eric had left me with no dignity. I didn't need to leave him with any either. I stopped holding back, letting all my grievances and weakness turn into rage as I shouted at Eric. To make a mistress, who's 11 years younger than you, happy. You're forcing your wife to kneel and apologize to her. Eric, you're really something. We dated for 3 years and have been married for 5. I've wasted 8 years of my youth on you. 8 years? How many more 8 years do I have in this life? I was there with you when you were starting out, when we were struggling, living in a tiny basement apartment, seeing the sunrise at 4 a.m. so many times. Now that you've made it, you turn around and keep a mistress. Even animals have more humanity than you. Everyone, take a good look. This man is Eric, the CEO of Ku Enterprises, and the woman beside him is his mistress. a student he sponsors, who's 11 years younger than him. Chapter 7. For a moment, everyone around was talking. A husband helping his mistress humiliate his wife isn't rare, but forcing the wife to kneel and apologize to the mistress in front of everyone was a first. And to make matters worse, these people were prominent figures. Some pulled out their phones, taking pictures and videos, while others, more hot-tempered, started hurling insults at Eric, at Louisa. Dirty curses were thrown at the two, one after another. Eric shielded Louisa, making sure her face wasn't captured. Meanwhile, I stood amidst the crowd, coldly watching the two of them. Finally, my strength gave out, and I passed out. When I woke up again, it was already dark, and I was back in the hospital room. My throat was dry and scratchy, and I struggled to sit up, only to fall back down, too weak. A hand held a cup of water out to me. In the light, I saw Eric's face, tinged with concern. I didn't take the cup he offered, instead lying back down. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice unusually tinged with regret. "I thought you just had a common cold. I didn't expect that you would actually. Don't be too upset. We can always have another child. The most important thing now is for you to recover. And then we can." I interrupted him with a cold laugh. "Then what, Eric? Do you really think there's still a then for us? Why should I, Jane, accept a man who's already soiled? Now, just looking at you makes me feel sick. Makes me want to vomit." The intense hatred in my eyes seemed to sting his fragile pride. He raised his hand, wanting to hit me, but then stopped midair. "I'm already here with you, and I've apologized. What more do you want from me? Can't you just behave? Do you have to make such a fuss? Always pushing your luck? If it weren't for your unreasonable behavior, I wouldn't have laid a hand on you. The child wouldn't have been lost. Can't you reflect on your own mistakes for once? I've had enough of you over the years. If you keep this up, we might as well just get a divorce and stop torturing each other." Chapter 8. Finally, he resorted to his usual threat. Every time we faced an unsolvable conflict, he would threaten me with divorce. He knew I wouldn't agree. He was sure I couldn't live without him. So this tactic always worked for him. This time was no different. He looked at me, still wearing that smug look, waiting for me to back down, just like before, waiting for me to humbly beg him not to leave me. But this time, I couldn't wait. "All right, Eric, let's get a divorce." The superiority in his eyes instantly disappeared, replaced by shock, disappointment, and anger that gradually crept across his face. He shot up, almost shouting at me, "Do you even know what you're saying?" "Of course I do. I'm not deaf." I stared into his eyes, enunciating each word clearly. "I agree. Let's get a divorce. If Mr. Chu doesn't have the time, I can contact a lawyer to draft the divorce agreement. All you'll need to do is sign it with your esteemed hand." After I said this, Eric didn't speak for a long time. The room fell into complete silence. I didn't rush him, just waited quietly. Eventually, Eric walked out onto the balcony, through the glass doors. I saw him light a cigarette and lean against the railing, lost in thought. About half an hour later, he finally came back inside, reeking of smoke. He reached out, trying to ruffle my hair, but I avoided his touch. His hand hung awkwardly in the air for a moment before he forced a smile. "You haven't eaten all day, have you? What do you want? I'll make it for you. Don't be mad, okay?" I lifted my eyelids to look at him, then sneered. "Didn't I make myself clear just now? I agreed to the divorce. Eric, why are you still putting on an act? Isn't it pathetic?" Just as I said this, Louisa walked in, hearing how I humiliated Eric. She immediately ran over and grabbed his hand. "If you agree to the divorce, then hurry up and do it. Can't you see, Koo? She's just playing hard to get now. She doesn't care about you at all. After everything you've been through to get where you are now, she goes and tarnishes your reputation in front of everyone. If it were me, I'd always be considerate of Koo's feelings. Everything would be about you first." A perfect pretentious coquette speech. That speech could be the textbook example of a pretentious coquette. Chapter 9. Eric continued to stare at me, not rejecting Louisa's advances, Jane. I was impulsive earlier. We've been married for 5 years. And divorce is not a joke. You can't just. His eyes turned red. Even after the way I humiliated him earlier, he still spoke with a tone full of affection. I found it somewhat amusing. Did I remember wrong? Weren't you the one who suggested divorce? I just agreed. And besides, Mr. Chu, before you say these things to me, could you at least let go of your little lover's hand? Eric's lips moved slightly. If I let go, will you stop talking about divorce? Not getting a divorce is possible. I smiled sweetly at Louisa. Break things off with her, just as you made me kneel and apologize to her earlier. Now have her apologize to me in the same way. I didn't think this request was unreasonable, but Louisa whimpered and buried her face in Eric's chest, shaking her head at him repeatedly, as I expected. Eric didn't let go of Louisa's hand. He looked helpless. Why do you have to make things difficult for Louisa? You're both women. Can't you be gentle and understanding like her? You're making this so hard for me. I'm really tired. I won't deprive you of money or material things. Just behave, okay? I'm begging you. He really was insatiable. I cursed under my breath, grabbed the glass cup within reach, and threw it at them. Eric shielded Louisa and dodged, the glass shattering on the floor. Sharp shards cut Louisa's leg, causing her to cry out in pain. Jane, Eric shouted angrily. Don't think I won't actually divorce you. Then hurry up and do it. You're a grown man. Could you at least be decisive for once? I no longer had any hope for this man. All I wanted was to escape this miserable situation as soon as possible. Fine. Let's divorce. Jane, you'd better not regret this. Eric stormed out of the hospital room, holding Louisa's hand. As he left, Louisa shot me a smug look. I couldn't help but laugh. She had sold her body and dignity for a man, but I couldn't see what she had to brag about. Chapter 10. A month later, I finally recovered from the physical toll of the miscarriage. It coincided with Coup Enterprises' anniversary celebration. In previous years, I always attended as Eric's partner. This year, I didn't want to go, but as a major shareholder of the company, my absence would have affected the company's reputation. So I decided to attend. I thought Eric would know how to behave in such a setting. After all, he had always cherished the hard-won success he had worked for so many years to achieve. But to my surprise, I still saw Louisa at the event. He didn't care about his reputation anymore. She wore a light blue gown, flitting around like a delicate fairy among the crowd. Eric had truly spoiled Louisa. The jewelry she wore was all expensive, and her dress was a custom-made high-fashion piece. In this circle, there are no secrets. Almost everyone present knew who Louisa was, Eric's 19-year-old mistress. The looks she received were filled with disdain and contempt, but she seemed oblivious, imagining herself as a proud peacock attracting everyone's attention. I planned to overlook it for the sake of the bigger picture, but she crossed the line by dancing right up to me, and then, deliberately, she spilled her glass of red wine onto my gown. Oh, Jane. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to dirty your dress. She apologized with feigned panic, but her eyes were full of disdain. But you know, it doesn't really matter if your dress is dirty or not. No matter how well you dress, it won't hide the old lady smell on you. No one cares what you wear. I looked down at the large red stain on my chest and suddenly started laughing. Still young, aren't you? Watching too many overbearing CEO romance novels and thinking you're the main character in this world? Louisa's expression changed. What do you mean? I didn't answer her, instead brushing the wine stain off my dress. This gown I'm wearing is a creation of the famous designer Alger. There's only one of these in the world, and it's worth 3 million. Today, he lent me this gown to promote his brand at the company's anniversary celebration. Now that you've ruined it, you'll need to compensate me 3 million. She was, after all, just a 19-year-old girl who didn't understand these things. Naturally, she was terrified. She stepped back, trembling, shaking her head repeatedly. It's not my fault. You were the one who wasn't careful. Chapter 11. I smiled and pointed to the security camera above us. It's fine if you don't admit it. The surveillance footage will prove everything. Miss Louisa, will you be paying the 3 million in cash or by credit card? Louisa was so frightened that she was on the verge of tears. I don't have that much money. I nodded and immediately called for security. Call the police. This person has ruined my $3 million gown. The security guard moved to take Louisa away, but Eric arrived just in time. Louisa cried and threw herself into Eric's arms. After understanding the situation, Eric frowned at me. Jane, do you even realize where we are? Is this the time to cause a scene? Whether I'm causing a scene or not can be determined by checking the surveillance footage. Let's see what your beloved Louisa said to me. Louisa clung tightly to Eric's arm, shaking her head vigorously. Eric knew the truth in his heart, but he stubbornly refused to check the footage. Instead, he pulled out a bank card and harshly tossed it at me. Isn't it just $3 million? I'll pay for her. As for you, get out of here. I looked down at the bank card on the floor and laughed mockingly. I was planning to leave you some dignity, Eric, but you're the one who decided not to leave me any. I handed the USB drive to the staff, and soon, the entire venue went dark. The central screen lit up. Displayed were one after another, a series of chat records. It wasn't hard to see that the content was a conversation between a man and a woman. The woman was explicit, her vulgar words almost unbearable to read. Others might not recognize the woman's WeChat profile picture, but Eric certainly did. I watched as his face grew darker and darker. I reached out and patted his shoulder. Don't worry, the best part is still to come. Within the chat records were also several videos. There was Louisa, partially exposing herself, acting lewdly in ways that rivaled certain adult films. And in the very last part, there was even Eric made an appearance, the grand CEO of Coup Enterprises, engaging in some rather peculiar habits in bed. There was more, much more, but Eric ordered it to be shut off before it could continue. The room fell into complete silence. Money can make the world go round, and this is what I had gathered during my month of recovery. An enraged Eric slapped Louisa hard across the face. You filthy woman. How dare you play me? Chapter 12. I didn't pay attention to what happened afterward. The last thing I saw that day was Louisa being dragged by her hair into a car by Eric's bodyguards. Eric was never someone to be trifled with. Naive Louisa didn't know that. But I did. The world of the wealthy isn't as simple as she thought. She believed that her youth and beauty would make these rich and powerful men fall at her feet. Too naive. In this world, only interests are eternal. Would those rich heirs and executives she knew really stand against me for her? After all, I'm the largest shareholder of Coup Enterprises. Eric didn't tell Louisa. When this company was founded, I was there with him, working hard. That was also when he loved me the most. He cherished me, and he cherished everything we had built together. After the company went public, I returned to the family, and he always felt indebted to me for making me endure hardships during the best years of my life. So, when it came time to divide the shares, 60% of Coup Enterprises shares were under my name. At that time, his intention was to compensate me, and it was also a condition for me to return to the family. As the company grew more successful, he often hinted that he wanted to take back more shares, but I always refused. I may have loved Eric blindly, but I'm also an adult who's been navigating the real world for many years. I understand very well that for a woman, interests are forever. As long as I held on to those shares, Eric would never divorce me. But now, his reputation was in ruins, and I had 1,000 reasons to kick him out of the company. He always thought I was just a lovesick fool, a stupid woman who could only rely on him to survive in the city. So when I threw the removal agreement in front of him, he was full of disbelief. This company is mine. Without me, how will you run it? As long as I have money. What kind of talent can't I find? I gently held his hand. You need to understand that it's not me wanting you to leave, but your negative press is too much. If you stay in the company, it will hinder its development. You wouldn't want all your hard work over the years to go to waste, right? Don't worry. I'm just asking you to step down from your position. We'll still live well together afterward. Just that you won't have to work so hard anymore. Isn't that a good thing? For the company's future. Sign it. He held the pen, hesitating for a long time. Honey, are you still mad at me? Because I foolishly trusted Louisa. I thought of the last time I saw Louisa. She had her legs broken by Eric's men. her face slashed, and was thrown into an underground club for the rest of her life. She probably wouldn't have a good day again. I know. It's normal to have no resistance to young and beautiful women. If you're willing to admit your mistake, I can forgive you. I smiled softly. He was so touched that he repeatedly promised, "Honey, I'll love you even more from now on. I'll never betray you again." Then he picked up the pen and decisively signed his name on the paper. I looked at the signed document and smiled with satisfaction. This was just the first step. When a woman truly makes up her mind, she can be more ruthless than anyone else. Chapter 13. Although I had found reliable people to manage the company, I still went there every day to stay involved in important decisions. Now that Eric had nothing to do, he spent his days cleaning the house and cooking for me. It was as if our roles had reversed. The one staying at home, doing all the household chores, was Eric, and the one living it up outside, sometimes not even coming home at night, was me. Many times, after a night out with friends, I'd come home late, turn on the lights, and see Eric asleep on the sofa, hugging a pillow while waiting for me. In him, I saw a reflection of my past self. "What have you been up to lately? You've hardly been home this month. Jane, do you even care about this family anymore?" Those words sounded oddly familiar. In all those nights where I waited from dusk till dawn, I had asked him the same questions, full of hurt and anger. "Social engagements," I said casually, tossing my bag onto the sofa. "You've been lying around at home all day. How would you know how hard it is to close a business deal?" Eric looked at me, furious. "I used to handle everything at the company. How could I not know?" "Really? Then shouldn't you be more understanding of me? You used to stay out all night too, didn't you?" I smiled as I asked him. He didn't say anything, because everything I was doing now, he had done before, using business as an excuse to go out drinking with his so-called business partners, not wanting to take my calls. He would simply turn off his phone. When I confronted him, he would always say the same thing, social engagements. What would a woman like you know about handling them? Now I was just giving him back his own words. Chapter 14. In the future, if something's bothering you, tell me sooner. Yesterday was my birthday. I thought you'd come home to be with me, so I made a whole meal. I glanced at the table full of dishes that had long gone cold. I've eaten this for 5 years. I'm sick of it. I yawned impatiently and pulled a bottle of men's cologne from my bag, handing it to him. "Here, a birthday gift." He eagerly unwrapped it, only to find the bottle half empty. "Your new male secretary posted on social media yesterday. This was the gift you gave him." He angrily threw the cologne to the floor. "Jane, what are you doing? Giving me something used by someone else? Is that it?" I remained indifferent. "So what if it's used? It's just half a bottle. Why are you yelling? Didn't I give you a card? Can't you buy whatever you want yourself? What's with the drama?" The look in Eric's eyes was one of complete devastation. "You're punishing me, aren't you? Please, don't do this to me. Honey, I'm begging you." I pushed him away. "This is how I am. How I've always been. If we can stay together, fine. If not, let's just get divorced already." At the mention of divorce, Eric panicked. He shook his head frantically. "No, don't divorce me. I'm sorry. Honey, I know I was wrong. I won't criticize you again. Please don't leave me." He seemed terrified, his eyes rimmed with red. I smiled in satisfaction, reaching out to pat his cheek. A good dog is one that listens. His spine stiffened for a moment. Would he dare to divorce me? He wouldn't. He only had 10% of the company's shares, and as the one at fault, he'd leave with nothing. The company's shareholders would never let him back in, and if we divorced, he'd lose everything. In the end, he lowered his once proud head. How satisfying. Chapter 15. That evening, I went to a bar recommended by a friend and hired 2 male models. When Eric got the news and rushed over, I was holding one of the models by the chin, feeding him red wine from my glass. He barged in, snatched the glass from my hand, and threw it to the ground with force. "Jane, is this what you call socializing? Work?" His eyes were bloodshot, filled with pain and helplessness. Why are you doing this to me, Jane? Haven't I done enough? Haven't I loved you enough? Love or not, that's another matter. My hand trailed over the model's face and abs, and I laughed playfully. Eric, you're over 30 now, aren't you? You're getting old, but I still have many better options. Each one of them is younger, more handsome, and taller than you. Why? Why should I waste my feelings and the rest of my life on an old man like you? You shouldn't be meddling in my affairs. Now that I'm taking good care of you, isn't that enough? Eric seemed unable to believe what he was hearing. His lips trembled uncontrollably, and his eyes were filled with a deep sense of brokenness. He wasn't wrong. These were the exact thoughts he had when he betrayed me. Now that I was saying them back to him word for word, he didn't even have a reason to argue. Tears welled up and fell from the corners of his eyes as he shook his head repeatedly. No, it shouldn't be like this. 8 years. We've been together for 8 years. When I had nothing, you didn't leave me. So how could you stop loving me now just because I'm getting older? You're getting back at me, aren't you? You're still angry with me, aren't you? Faced with his painful hysteria, all I felt was irritation. All this trouble just because I'm angry with you? Eric, you really think too highly of yourself. If that's the case, then let's just get a divorce. After all, I've looked at your face for 8 years, and I'm already tired of it. Let's get a divorce. After about 2 minutes of silence, Eric's face turned pale. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Honey, please, don't divorce me. I'm begging you. He knelt down in front of me. I know. I was a beast before. I wronged you. I promise. I'll change from now on. I can give up everything. I won't care what you do. I just beg you. Don't leave me. We've been together for 8 years. We've been through so much hardship together. And now everything's finally getting better, right? We shouldn't end things like this. I slapped him hard. So now you remember we've been together for 8 years? And how did you treat me for a younger, prettier woman? People who betray true love should swallow 1,000 needles. You said that to me yourself. I gripped his chin, smiling cruelly. You don't want a divorce? Fine. 1,000 needles, not one less. If you can swallow them all, we'll stay together. With that, I shoved him aside and walked out. Not long after, I received a call from a friend. Eric had been taken to the hospital. They said that after I left, Eric had laughed and cried. And in the end, he really started swallowing needles. I watched the surveillance video my friend sent me. Eric's mouth was full of blood. He collapsed on the floor from the pain, trembling uncontrollably, yet still forcing himself to shove one needle after another into his mouth. He pushed away everyone who tried to stop him, crying out, "If I swallow 1,000 needles, Jane will forgive me." That night, the hospital called me many times. I didn't answer a single one. I said it before, once I decide to let go, I can be more ruthless than anyone. From now on, whether he lives or dies has nothing to do with me. Chapter 16. The day of our divorce. The weather was perfect. I walked out of the civil affairs office with my divorce certificate in hand. Behind me, Eric looked haggard, like he had aged 10 years overnight. Yes, just a few days ago, when the lawyers were sorting out our marital assets, he found out that all of my assets had been secretly transferred. After the divorce, all he got was 100,000 yuan. The empire he had spent half his life building ended up in my hands. When did you start planning all this? His tired and hoarse voice sounded from behind me. From the day you forced me to kneel in front of Louisa after I had a miscarriage. That night, I sat by the window for a long time, until the full moon completely disappeared over the horizon, until my tears dried up, until my collapsing sanity slowly returned. That's when I finally gave up. From that day on, I started preparing to take everything from him. I had already decided to live well with you. He squatted down, sobbing in pain and regret. It's okay. I'll continue to enjoy the happy life that should have been yours. I left him with those words and got into the car. In the rearview mirror, I saw his hunched figure standing there for a long time. Suddenly, I remembered. A long, long time ago, when the company earned its first million, he hugged me tightly. That day, under the same bright sunshine, he whispered softly in my ear, "Honey, thank you for staying by my side for so long. From now on, I'll love you twice as much and give you a better life. The happiness that was once within his grasp. He ruined it himself. Who's to blame? He deserved it.